We're 24 years old. We're twins. How do we like being twins? I love being a twin. I feel like to some degree it was an advantage in the abuse that we experienced. I witnessed other twins in the same abuse turn on each other. And I feel like, Sierra and I had a lot of reasons to turn against each other. Um, they constantly tried to put wedges between us. But there was always this sense from when we were little girls that um, we were each other's home, that we were going to be each other's safety, and that we could find that comfort and build that trust that, like, Sierra will always be there for me and I will always be there for her. There was a mutual relationship of if I'm getting it for myself, I'm getting it for Alexa too. Even down to when I was 4 years old, if I would sneak into the pantry and try to steal a fruit snack, it wasn't just my fruit snack, it was Lexa's fruit snack too. And I think that became so crucial because I think a safe attachment is really important to children. And I didn't receive that from any adult in my life.
Mhm.
Um, but being able to build what felt like the closest thing to a secure attachment throughout the abuse um, saved me from a lot of heartache. We were familial and community trafficked throughout our lives. Yeah.
How old were you when you remembered?
The last time that I started to remember again was 22 years old, but we remembered a handful of times throughout our lives, on and off.
The youngest?
The youngest I would say was about 5 or 6. Um, yeah.
Did you communicate with each other about it?
We found ways to communicate in a safe way. We could not admit to ourselves or let others around us know that we thought these memories were true. And so we learned to call them nightmares, and we would have shared nightmares from the night before. And so we were able to lean on each other for support when these scary images and things came up in our mind through pretty much covering them in disbelief. Yeah, I recall seeing it very split in my mind of this like day child, night child type dilemma where I would go to some of my siblings or I'd go to Sierra and I would say, do you ever see this like shadow area in your mind where like bad things happen? And then we would just talk about it as if it wasn't happening. Um, but we were able to find support that these things did scare us.
How do you know your memories are true?
They came with an overwhelming sense of homesickness. Like the English language really fails to help articulate the experience of remembering or unsuppressing these memories. It's a very strong mixture of grief and nostalgia. When I first started remembering recently, it came with a lot of good memories and a lot of very niche details from my childhood and how my mind used to work. Being able to see through my eyes again, not being able to see over the countertops, or having the adults in my life really loom over me because they were so much larger than me, which I don't see the world like that anymore. And so these memories aren't through the point of view that I have and hold now. They're from a point of view that I once held and saw through. For me, it started out as receiving these flashing images, these partial flashbacks. And as time continued, there were moments where this memory would come back, and it was like a fog would come over my eyes, and I was there again. And in my body, in my hearts of hearts, it was like I knew that this had happened, and it was almost instantaneous. Like I wouldn't have to relive the whole memory. It wouldn't be like hours and hours of a flashback. It was like within like a minute or two, I would recall the entirety of the event. and be able to describe details and even injuries and the way that people sounded or the way that the whole experience felt. Um, I describe, I know a lot of people say that like you wouldn't forget something this traumatic or this important. And the truth is that you don't. Our brains are very kind to us, and their job is to keep us alive and to protect us. And so, as a child, when something so hard and traumatic and scary happens, our instinct is to go run and hide. And that's in essence what these memories did. They went and hid, and we were told things like, if you tell, if you talk, if you remember, you will be harmed or you will be killed. Not just told. Yeah. When we did recall when we were younger, those things did occur. Yeah, not necessarily us being harmed, but we watched other people be killed. We watched other people get hurt, and we experienced severe pain whenever the memories would come back up. Um, and so our brains built this coping mechanism, and it's brilliant, and separated and built this block to keep us safe. And until we got to a place where we were safe, they weren't going to return. And when it came back up again, it was that overwhelming sense of relief and nostalgia that something that I had lost, that I didn't have the language for, was returning back to me.